Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupāda ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Mahābhagavat Śrīla Gaurkishora Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Śrīla Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Śrīla Baladev Vijibhushan Prabhu ki jai. Śrīla Vishwanath Kavati Thakur ki jai. Shri Nartam Srinivas Ramananda Prabhu Trai ki jai. Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Shata Varshaki Vyasa Puja Mahamahotsav ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatarashata Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Gurudever Tirubhav Mahotsav ki jai. Titi Palankari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Go. Strange thing. It doesn't seem to be going online on my own Facebook page. Anyhow, doesn't matter. I'm online YouTube. I don't know what the problem is. Let me just, give me a second, guys. I just want to see why it's not going live. Here. 1 second. All right. Hari Bol Shri Mataji. Dandavat Pranams. All right. Let me share my screen with you. Yeah, this book, I don't have it on me right now. We only printed like 5 advanced copies so that we could offer yesterday on Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja's Centennial Vyasa Puja. And so, yeah, we offered them to at Radhe Kunj, at Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math, and also here in Gopinath Bhavan. And then we also presented it to Uma Didi, who is... She's in the ICU right now, and but she was fully conscious and talking, and when we presented the book to her, and she was just crying, "Hey Gurudev, hey Gurudev," and anyways, yeah. So she has that book with her, right beside her, in the ICU. You'll see in this book, probably like a quarter of the letters are to Uma Didi. Yeah, it's really special. Just give me 1 second here, guys. I just want to see if it's actually working on Facebook. Because in this program I'm using, Restream, it says it's not live on Facebook. I just want to, sometimes it doesn't really, it's not accurate all the time. Yeah, it's not going live on Facebook. Anyhow, doesn't matter. Everybody can just watch it on YouTube. Actually, maybe I'll post on Facebook the link to the YouTube channel. That's what I'm going to do. Because I did announce on Facebook that I was going to be going live. And just give me a second here, guys. Shoot. All right. And then, oh, 1 second. Somebody's here to see me. Yes?
Just wanted to let you know that Janiki's going to come and see me this morning for a few minutes.
Okay.
I'll call you on your phone, make sure I'm not blocked.
Okay. Yes, I'll make sure. All right. Haribol. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, give me a second here, guys. Okay, I'm just... Okay, yes, I'll make sure. Sorry, what?
Haribol. She's going to come at
7.
She's a little late, so I'm just letting you know.
Okay, when I finish the reading, I'll come up if she's still there. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for being so patient, guys. Okay, done. Now let me share my screen with you. Sorry about this, guys. This is embarrassing. Okay. Now sharing the screen. Thanks for your patience. So this book, it contains 128 letters. And you'll see there's topics for all these letters here. You guys are the first ones to be able to see this right now, because as I mentioned, we only offered a copy to Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Oh, well, we offered it first to my Gurudeva, and then we offered it to my Gurudeva to offer to Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And but yeah, nobody else has seen it except for those who worked on this book. You're the first ones. All right, so I'm just starting now. Foreword. Remembering nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Compiled from nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja's lectures on the appearance day of Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja, given on 29 December 1991 and 6 January 1994, and also from a written glorification on the first anniversary of Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja's disappearance, presented in Harmonist, Kārtika 2005. And let me just make sure it's all running good. All right. Hare Krishna, Borja, and Indira Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Haribol. This is really special. It's long though. I'm going to be reading for more than an hour probably, but it's really special. You'll see. What is Vyas Puja? What is Vyas Puja? In a general sense, the full moon day that comes in the month of Ashad, June, July, is called Guru Purnima, and it is the appearance day of Sri Vyasadeva. So everyone offers Pushpanjali at his feet on that day. This is observed in our Sampradaya and in many other Sampradayas as well. In our Sampradaya, those who sit upon the seat of Sri Vyasadeva and preach and practice the message of Śrīmad Bhagavatam are acharyas. On the acharya's appearance day, the worship he himself performs of his own guru and the Guru Parampara is called Vyasa Puja. Vyasa Puja does not mean that the Guru seeks to accept worship from his disciples and followers. Rather, on his birthday, he worships his own Gurudev, as well as the Vaishnavas, the Guru Parampara, and his worshipful deities, Shri Radha Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is called Vyasa Puja. Look at the example of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, or more recently, as you all must have seen, our worshipful nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhakti Dait Madhav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ji. It has not been so long since his departure. On his appearance day, he would worship all the Vaishnavas and Vrajavasis who came. He would give them garlands, tilak, fresh clothes, and worship them in every way. He would even give garlands and so much honor to those who were on the level of his disciples, the disciples of his godbrothers, like myself. If this manner of conduct is not taught, then as we see today, people just think, oh, Guru Puja, Vyas Puja means my disciples will worship me. This is reverse puja. This is not puja. Surely, even if the disciples see this misdirected sort of puja, they will at least learn to worship their Guru. They should certainly perform puja of their Guru, otherwise problems will come. But if the Guru himself does not set an example of worshipping his own Guru and his Guru Varga, then what kind of puja will his disciple learn to perform? In Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11:17-27, it has been said, Acharya mang vijaniyam, know the Guru to be me, my own Swarup. Krishna himself is saying this. Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmī writes in his commentary that even the ordinary fruitive worker, the karmi, is advised to see his Guru, also a fruitive worker, as the form of Bhagavan. So what then to say of pure Vaishnavas? In regard to them, we have statements like Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado and Shakshad dharitvena samasta shastrer uktas tata bhavyata eva sarvi. They are the Ashraya Vigraha. We have two main Ashraya Vigrahas. One is Sri Baladev Prabhu and the other is Srimati Radhika ji. Both issue from Krishna, one in the form of Sandhini Shakti and the other as Hladini Shakti. Krishna himself is Chit Swarupa, from where Krishna himself is Chit Swarup, from where both issue forth and then come together. One channel comes from Baladev Prabhu and the other from Srimati ji. One who serves Shri Radha Krishna under that guidance and teaches how to attain that service is an Acharya. A Guru who does not teach service of Shri Radha Krishna is not really a Guru. If one has bhakti for Bhagavan, it does not even matter if one does not have full knowledge of Shastra. If one is expert in all the scriptures but has no realization of Bhagavan, Bhagavad Anubhuti, then he is not an actual Guru. Realization of Bhagavan is essential. If Shri Radha Krishna are not in a person's own heart, how can that person seat them in the hearts of others, his disciples? How can he do that? Therefore, to be equipped with realization of Bhagavan is the main characteristic of Guru, while knowledge of scripture and other things are secondary characteristics. Interesting, huh? Many people go in the direction of scriptural knowledge and do not give attention to realization of Bhagavan. In such cases, even though such persons are referred to as Guru, there is not much real benefit to be had in becoming their disciple. The primary characteristic of having the quality of being Guru, is to have realization of Bhagavan. And what sort of Bhagavad Anubhuti should that be? This is where the speciality of our Sampradaya lies. If a person is fully ripened, matured in his understanding of Srila Rupa Goswami's conceptions, and if he has that kind of realization of Bhagavan, then he is truly a Guru within our Sampradaya. The greatest ambition. Service to Guru must be performed in a way that is Vishramba, endowed with perfect intimacy and trust. In order to become Vishramba, we have to rise to the level that our Gurudev is on. In order to perform puja of Bhagavan, one must become like Bhagavan. As said in the Tantras, Devo bhutva devam yajet. It's from the Gandharva Tantra. One must obtain divine status to worship that which is divine. Let me read that again. One must obtain divine status to worship that which is divine. So, to serve Guru, we must come very close to his conceptions, his vichar. We will have to understand his conceptions and what he wants. That is why it is said that one cannot worship a deva, a godly personality, if one is not a deva himself. What is that? Devo bhutva devam yajet. Likewise, without comprehending the conceptions of Guru, one cannot truly serve Guru. Hence, if one can serve in that Vishramba manner, with intimacy and trust, then Guru becomes pleased. And then what happens? What do the members of our Guru Varga want? They want to attain the service of Śrīla Rupa Goswami's foot dust. This is the highest aspiration. Others may want to cross over this ocean of material existence. Some want moksha, liberation. Some want Vaikuntha. Some Dwarka. Some want to follow Subal and Sridham. Some want to follow Yashoda and Nanda Baba. And some want to follow in the footsteps of the Sakis. What did Prabhupada Śrīla Saraswati Thakur say all the time? Ada danas trinam danter idam yache puna puna Śrīmad rupa padam bhojo dhuli syam janma janmani. That's from Mukta Charita by Raghunath Das Goswami. Clutching a straw between my teeth, I repeatedly prayed to become but a particle of dust at the lotus feet of Śrīmad Rupa, birth after birth. It is my understanding that for the jiva, this is the most beautiful and topmost desire, and it surpasses even prayers to attain the service of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. There cannot possibly be any greater ambition than this. What does it mean to be Rupanuga? Among all the other sampradayas, our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya has one speciality. Nikunjayu no ratikeli siddhai yaya libir yukti rapekshaniya tatrati daksha rativalabhasya. One is very dear to Shri Shri Radha Krishna because she is very expert among the Sakis and arranging the pastimes of the divine couple in the groves of Vrindavan. There is not such extensive and variegated service of Shri Shri Radha Krishna's pastimes in any other sampradaya. The Guru's Gurutva, the Guru's quality of being Guru, depends on this alone. Look at earlier verses of Guru Vashtaka, like Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritta Gita. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes us through a steady progression. Guru also performs Archan and Pujan of Thakurji himself. Shivigrahara Dhana Nityanana. It starts there and ends up at Nikunja Yunor Rati Keli Siddha. At Nikunja Yunor Rati Keli. This is the Gurutva of Guru. One who cannot give these teachings cannot be called a Rupanuga Vaishnav or Guru. What does Rupanuga mean? By the inspiration and mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Śrīla Rupa Goswami wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjvala Nilamani, Vidagdha Madhav, and Lalit Madhav. Those who follow what he wrote are not necessarily Rupanuga. They may be Raganuga. They may be in the moods of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and even Madhurya. But what does it mean when we say Rupanuga? Who was Śrīla Rupa Goswami internally? Externally, he was the associate of Sriman Mahaprabhu, and internally, he is Rupa Manjari, the eternal companion of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. What is Rupa Manjari's personal service? How does she serve the divine couple? Does she serve as a pransaki, a Manjari, as one who is Radha Pakshiya, favoring Srimati Radhika? Yes, she serves Yugala Kishore, Radha and Krishna both. But where is her absorption? Where is her inclination? It leans towards Shri Radhaji. Krishna will also summon Rupa Manjari. Both Radha and Krishna will be standing there and calling to Rupa Manjari. But who will she go to? Straight to Srimati Radhika. This is Rupa Manjari. If Krishna loses a game, all the Sakis clap, but she is the first to clap for Srimati Radhika, and she teases Krishna. This is why Srila Raghunath Das Goswami sings praises with verses like Tam Rupa Manjari Saki Pratita Puresmin. O Rupa Manjari, you are well known in the town of Vraj. That's the first verse of Vilak Kusmanjali. So what does Rupa Nuga mean? One who follows Srila Rupa Goswami's achar, conduct, and his vichar, his conceptions exclusively, who knows the service he renders in his eternal Swarup, his Swarup Gata Seva, and who grants his disciples the desire or aspiration to serve in that same way, is a Rupa Nuga Acharya. This is our Sampradaya. First, long ago, Sri Naraji came and gave service in the mood of Dasyaras. Other great acharyas have also come, even incarnations of Bhagavan have come, but they could not even approach the vicinity of what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in a natural and spontaneous manner, infused Srila Rupa Goswami's heart with all of what he came to give. Where did he do this? In Prayag first, and then in Puri. One who can take these moods of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu into his heart and convey them to the hearts of his followers is truly one of our Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Vaishnav Acharyas. This is why Srila Prabhupada referred to Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur as Mahavadanya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya, but Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur distributed what he came to give on a brand new golden platter. What then is Srila Prabhupada like? What did he do? He revealed Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, as well as the whole Guru Parampara, Sriman Mahaprabhu, and Shri Shri Radha Krishna. Those who reveal to us a personality such as Srila Prabhupada are truly revered. We are so fortunate to have taken birth close to the time of Srila Prabhupada's associates. I came not long after, yet it is my misfortune that I could not take what Srila Prabhupada gave. All those associates took that. Pujyapad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Mahārāja is one of those associates. Our fortune is that we could have the association of those who received Srila Prabhupada's instruction. If we can grasp their conduct and conceptions and enter the realm of Bhagavad Bhakti, then we will be greatly fortunate. All right, let me just check everything's going okay. Haribo, Rup Manjari Didi, and Ganga Didi, and Pradyumna Prabhu. Yeah, like I have a new mic now. Okay, now Srila Gurudeva starts speaking about Srila Vāmana Goswami Maharaj. I mean, this is all leading up to it, but yeah. Pujyapad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Mahāraja's early life in the Mat. Srila Prabhupada was in this Rupa Nuga Guru Parampara, and he had many associates. In a very short time, they preached throughout the whole world the message that was practiced and preached by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Of them, my Gurudev, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, was foremost. And he, Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Goswami Maharaj, is his foremost disciple. Some identify with their families, with their mothers or fathers, but his identity was as a disciple of our Guru Maharaj. His mother was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Her name was Srimati Bhagavati Devi. His father was a disciple of our Guru Maharaj. Almost everyone else in his family, his brothers, his fathers, and most of his uncles, was a disciple of Guru Maharaj. His mother, however, before any of them, had taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada. She entrusted Pujyapad Vāmana Maharaj into the care of our Guru Maharaj at a very young age. See, there's little Vāmana Goswami Maharaj. I think he must be 8 years old in this picture, or 7 or 8, something like that, 6, 7, or 8. Guru Maharaj, or maybe he just turned 9, who knows, because anyways, we'll read. Guru Maharaj was like his father, and Shri Narahari Prabhu, known as the mother of the Gaudiya Math, raised and nurtured him. Even if some of the boys wet their beds at night, Narahari Prabhu would clean it up. He would make sure they all got to bed on time. And then he would wake them up in the morning and bring them to Mangalarti. He fed them and taught them how to read and write. He took care of everyone very lovingly. That is why there were so many people in the Math back then. People will only be attracted to Guru if he gives them more love than they receive from their families and the rest of the world. Therefore, Guru has to be loving like this. Then he can attract everyone. Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja's childhood name was Santosh. He was originally from the Khulna district, but from childhood he was raised here in the Gaudiya Math. Guru Mahārāja enrolled him in the Bhaktivedānta Institute. Guru Maharaj taught him everything. He would give Santosh a lemon juice candy for every verse he memorized, so he would memorize up to 12 verses or more a day. Wow, 12 verses or more a day. He lived in the ashram at Sri Chaitanya Math and went to school there at the Bhaktivedānta Institute next to Yogapith. There were many other boys who went to school with him, but none of them remained brahmacharis or took sannyas. Most of them left. A few remained. Everyone else left. From childhood, Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj had a profound love of learning, but he also served. He would set plates for everyone, set their asans, put salt and lemon on their plates, sweep and clean up after prasad, bring everyone drinking water for the day, and also cut and prepare the vegetables for cooking. This is one of the main services in a Vaishnava temple, cutting vegetables. He was so quick at cutting vegetables you can't imagine. You would look away for a moment and chop, chop, chop. He would be done, and every piece would be exactly the same size, none too big or small. Accepting Diksha. And just a little detail here. So his mother brought him to, his aunt brought him to for Navadip Parikrama, and in what is it? I think it was 1930. So he was 9 years old at that time, and he refused to go back home. And so from that age of 9 years old, he never left Param Gurudeva and Śrīla Prabhupada and Narahari Prabhu. He stayed there forever. Accepting Diksha. After Śrīla Prabhupada entered his unmanifest pastimes, conflicts ensued amongst the devotees of the Gaudiya Math. The opposing party filed false charges against our most worshipful Śrīla Gurudeva and 40 of Śrīla Prabhupada's senior respectable disciples, including Shri Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu, Shri Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Pujapad Bhakti Kushal Nrsimha Maharaj, Pujapad Paramahansa Maharaj, and Pujapad Rishikesh Maharaj, and had them all thrown in prison. It was Shri Santosh who would bring the case files to the lawyer and go to court, as well as cook prasad and bring it to the jail for all 40 devotees. 1 second. Guru Maharaj imparted Diksha mantras to him at that time and gave him the name Sajan Sevak Brahmachari. But he could not perform his Upanaya Sanskar, or sacred thread ceremony. Pujapad Jajavar Maharaj performed Shri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari's Upanaya Sanskar sometime later at Shri Shyamananda Gaudiya Math in Medinipur. Some say that Shri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari accepted Harinam and Diksha from Pujapad Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj. But the truth is that he received Harinam from Jagat Guru nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashtarashata Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī, and Diksha from my Guru Par Parma, Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Refuting misconceptions about the Sampradaya. Shri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari also lived for some time in Shri Shyamananda Gaudiya Math. Shri Anantaram Brahmachari, later Pujapad Śrīla Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj, was also there. Around that time, some serious controversy arose in Vrindavan, as some so-called Goswāmīs and Babajis were saying that there are more than 4 Sampradayas, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not in the line of Madhvacharya, and that he established the Gaudiya Sampradaya himself, so that Mahaprabhu is in a 5th Sampradaya. In order to compose a proper essay refuting these claims, the references for 2 particular verses were needed. One of these verses was Sampradaya Vihinaye Mantras Te Nishvala Mata Ata Kalo Bhavishyanti Chatvara Sampradayina. Unless one has been initiated in a sampradaya by a bona fide guru, the mantra received will have no effect, and that in the age of Kali there will be only 4 bona fide sampradayas. This is found in the Prameya Ratnavali 1.5, quoted from Padma Puran. The other verse, Janmana Jayate Shudra Sanskarad Hi Bhaved Vija Veda Patat Bhavet Vipra Brahma Janati Brahmana. By birth, everyone is a Shudra. One becomes a Dvija, twice born, upon receiving spiritual purification, samskar, from a spiritual master. By studying the Vedas, one becomes a Vipra. The real Brahman, however, is one who knows Brahma. This verse is originally from the Atraya Samhita, but is also found in the Skanda Puran. In order to find the proper references for these 2 verses and write that crucial rebuttal, the 2 brahmacharis, Sri Sajan Sevak and Sri Anantaram, went to the local king's impressive library in Mahishadal, near the town of Medinipur. They stayed there for several days, combing through many books until they found the required references. While there, they took the opportunity to also read a great many Gaudiya Vaishnav scriptures, as well as various Upanishads and Puranas that were available in that library. His exceptional life as a brahmachari. In 1942, some years after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Pad Padma established the Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti at Boshpara Lane, Kolkata. Sri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari was there at that time, as was Sri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja. And in 1943, when Guru Mahārāja established Sri Devananda Gaudiya Math and Sri Navadip Dham, Sri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari was with him there also. He performed all types of services for Guru Mahārāja, including cooking for him. And when Guru Mahārāja would have to leave, when Guru Mahārāja would leave to preach in the cities and towns on either side of the Ganga, Sri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari would accompany him as his prominent assistant and servant. There's Srila Vāmana Goswami holding a Gaudiya Patrika. Once some Vaishnav guests arrived at the Samiti Center in Kolkata. Pujapad Vāman Maharaj had a fever of 104 degrees, but there was no one else to cook for them. Guru Maharaj woke him up. "What? You're sleeping? You have a fever? Get up quickly." Vāman Maharaj Ji came and cooked with a fever of 104 degrees. Guru Maharaj told him, "Do everything you have to do here first and then rest." If some guests arrived here right now, would anyone who is ill with a high fever do this? No one else would have been able to get on his feet in that condition. During our Guru Maharaj's time, Vāman Maharaj Ji and I stayed with each other a lot. We and one or two others used to go preaching together with Guru Maharaj in Medinipur, Chobis Pargana, and so many other places, so we had time to get to know many things about each other. Pujapad Vāman Maharaj told us that once there was a flood in Mayapur, and that he got stuck in that flood. He had taken a boat out into the river, when suddenly a strong current came and swept his boat and him away. It was a very precarious situation. Somehow or other, he caught hold of a tree and brought the boat over to it. But then he noticed that the tree was full of snakes. They had no place to go, so they had sought refuge in the tree. There were snakes everywhere. It was very risky, especially since one of them could have fallen on him. Nevertheless, he said he had to just cling to the tree, chanting Bhagavan's names, and after a while, some people spotted him and rescued him. He used to wear wooden shoes. If he had to pick flowers from a tree, he would climb the tree wearing his wooden shoes. He He could even climb bale trees in them. I used to wear wooden shoes too when I first came and would walk and I would walk 4 or 5 miles in them. But he was more accustomed to it than I. He would go back and forth to Kolkata in those shoes. Umadiri confirmed this. Even next to her home, she had bale trees. She told Srivas this, and he would climb the tree wearing wooden shoes. People nowadays could not imagine how austerely we lived back then. We would be engaged in service day and night, and all the responsibility for the mat was on Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja. Guru Maharaj would be out preaching. After that, Vāmana Mahārāja was put in charge of the press in Chinchura and started printing Śrī Gaudiya Patrika, Bhaktivedānta Samiti's monthly magazine. On Guru Maharaja's order, he printed many books like Jaiva Dharma, Navadip Bhav Taranga, Gaudiya Giti Gucha, Navadip Shatakam, Navadip Dham Parikrama, and Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita. As I mentioned, Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja came to the mat at a very young age during Srila Prabhupada's time in 1930. I came at the end of 1946, when Vāmana Mahārāja had already been serving Guru Maharaj for 16 years and hearing his teachings. Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja is very senior. He is like Kakabhushundi, an immortal sage and devotee of Sri Ramachandra who accepted the form of a crow and witnessed the passage of infinite eons. I have been under the shade of his feet for the last 45 years. Everything I needed, he provided. He was the Bhandari, the storehouse manager then. He cared for me in every respect, supplying me with cloth and whatever else I needed. He always showed me much affection, and I came to regard him as my Shiksha Guru. Taking sannyas. Later, in 1952, Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja took sannyas along with Pujapad Trivikram Mahārāja and me. At the time, all three of us expressed that we did not feel qualified to take sannyas. First, Vāmana Mahārāja was asked, or perhaps it was Trivikramaraj, as he was the eldest. Trivikram Mahārāja was asked if he would take sannyas, and he said no. When asked why, his reply was, "Look how learned Srila Prabhupada was, and also his disciples. What a great scholar Nemi Maharaj is. How learned Shoti Maharaj is, and Guru Maharaj is. We see them all. What exalted learned scholars they are." When Vāmana Mahārāja was asked, he too said he would not accept. So when I was asked, I also said I would not take. Then Srila Narasingha Maharaj, Srila Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja's uncle, came to me and asked, "You will not take sannyas?" "No," I said. "Why?" "Because I'm too unqualified." "Are you going to decide whether or not you are qualified, or is your Gurudev going to decide that?" he asked. "Is your not wanting to take sannyas for your own sake, or will you take it to serve your Gurudev? What should happen, what your Gurudev wants, or what you want? If it's what you want, then why didn't you stay in family life?" Oof, that's heavy. He was very persuasive. He got it in my head. He got it into my head. So I said, "Fine, I will take whatever happens. If Gurudev wants me to be naked, I will be naked. If he gives me sannyas, then I will take sannyas. If he gives me red cloth, I will take that. Whatever he says, I will do. I won't do anything of my own accord." So, then it was decided that just I, Gaur Narayan, would take sannyas. Guru Maharaj said, "Yes, it will just be him. No one else is ready to take." Later, as the sannyas preparations were being made, Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja and Trivikram Mahārāja also agreed that if Guru Maharaj wanted them to take sannyas, then they should also take. This is how the three of us were the first to take sannyas in the Bhaktivedānta Samiti. The kind of sannyas I'm seeing nowadays shows the standard has fallen. People who have no knowledge of Siddhanta and no comprehension of Bhagavatam are taking sannyas. The real qualification for sannyas is a willingness to serve Guru, as exemplified by the service rendered by Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja from such an early age. His shy nature. Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja, very shy disposition. He would hardly speak to anyone, and when he did, he would speak very little. Once, I remember when we went preaching somewhere and Guru Maharaj told Vāmana Maharaj to give class, he was so anxious about how he was going to do so. He took a volume of Śrīmad Bhagavatam and started reading a verse. His pronunciation was very beautiful. He then read the translation and went on to read another verse, and then that verse's translation. Somehow, like this, he got through the class. Guru Maharaj saw the shy nature of his and tried to change him gradually. Vāmana Maharaj was then in charge of publishing Śrī Gaudiya-patrika and did whatever was required to get it published. Then Guru Maharaj told him to go preaching, and the responsibility for publication work was given to someone else. Vāmana Maharaj was very sad. He felt he was being sent away from the mat, from Chunchura. Although rather unhappy to go preaching, when he came back, he had changed completely. After that, he gave lectures and explanations of Shastra that would go on for hours and hours. We can manage half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, maybe an hour at the most. But he could carry on explaining complex tattva siddhanta for hours, and in simple, understandable language, because he had such a masterful command of the Bengali language and Gaudiya siddhanta. Also, he had his own unique way of refuting the misconceptions of others. He would not refute people in a way that was so apparent to others. In very polite and humble language, he would lay out every aspect of the issue, but people would not understand that he was refuting someone. Expertise in relating to everyone. However people would approach him, he would reciprocate accordingly. I saw him in Chunchura one time, sitting with the neighborhood children, telling them a ghost story, an experience he had once traveling late at night in a remote region of the Chobis Pargana. I think that was in Chhatrabog. I think I was there. Yes, I was there. There's a place we go on Bengal Prachar with Tirtha Maharaj called Chhatrabog, and there was somebody who made a little booklet about this pastime, and they wrote it all in payar form, like Chaitanya Charitamrita verses. They wrote the whole story like that, and they made a little booklet out of it. Anyways, he had encountered a marriage party of ghosts in the middle of the night in a desolate cremation ground. He told the children that the only way he had escaped the I don't know how to say this word, macabre? Let me look this up. Macabre? I don't know how to read this kind of stuff. Macabre. I don't know. Disturbing concerning the fear of death. Okay, so the only way he had escaped the macabre festivities that night was because he had tulsi beads on his neck and his japamala with him and was chanting Harinam loudly. The children would then come every day to hear stories like this. Another time, while out preaching somewhere, I saw Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj sitting there with some children. This was after he had taken sannyas. They asked him, "Can you read palms?" "Yes," he said. They started showing him their hands. He said, "Look, your mind is restless and you have stomach problems. You can easily tell this just by looking at a person, especially if they're really skinny. Your health is not good. You have a stomach problem and you cannot focus on your studies. Your mind is restless." Just by looking at them, he could tell something about them. People would be impressed and say, "He has mystic powers." In this way, he would interact with everyone on their level. And if true spiritual seekers came, he would deal accordingly with them. One second. Okay, Raseshwari Mataji explaining how. Let me see. How do you say this word?
Macabre.
Oops, it's on double speed.
Macabre. Another time.
Okay. Macabre? I couldn't hear it so well. Anyways. Guru Maharaj's biographer and scribe. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj's power of memory was extraordinary, and he was a very eloquent speaker and writer. What a prolific writer he was! After Guru Maharaj's disappearance, Vāmana Maharajji compiled the history of Guru Maharaj's transcendental life. He had regularly noted down Guru Maharaj's activities and pastimes, and so he compiled this information into a biography covering Guru Maharaj's entire life, from his appearance to his disappearance. It includes accounts of Guru Maharaj's accepting the shelter of Śrīla Prabhupada, serving the Gaudiya Mat, his nishta in Prabhupada, his developing Mayapur, his establishing Śrī Gurudeva Samiti, and then preaching all over India, his parikamas of various dhams and tirthas, and his giving sannyas. In particular, it presented Guru Maharaja's conceptions in a truly marvelous way. The book also describes the pilgrimages we went on with Guru Maharaj to places like Sri Jagannath Puri, Kashi Dham, Ayodhya Dham, Vasukinath, Naimisharanya, Vaidyanath, Bhadrachalam, Prayag, Mathura Mandal, Vrajamandal, Dwarka, Rana Chodaji, Kurmachala, Panna Nashinga, Jiyar Nashinga, Rameshwaram, Kanya Kumari, Ahovalam, Trivandrum, Udupi, Venkateshwaram, Sri Rangam, and so many other places. With articles for Sri Gauriya Patrika and various books that Guru Maharaj wrote, he would give dictation just once and not have to review it. Why? Because Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj would take care of everything else. Vāmana Maharaj would compile the Patrika, collecting material from various sources. Guru Maharaj would provide one essay, while Vāmana Maharaj would see to everything else. And in those days, there were no cassettes or recorders. When Guru Maharaj would give lectures, Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj would take notes. He could write very fast. Once, in a single month, in 30 days, Guru Maharaj gave lectures at over 40 different places. Whenever Guru Maharaj spoke, Vāmana Maharaj would quickly note down what he was saying. All of those lectures were published in the Gauriya Patrika. He would travel everywhere with Guru Maharaj. It would be in the middle of Parikama, and Guru Maharaj would be dictating to him, non-stop, without pausing. There'd be so many people around, but Vāmana Maharaj would not miss a thing. When I came, I did not know him or anyone else. I only knew Pujapad Madhusudana Maharaj, whose name then was Nartamananda Brahmachari. So I would write to him, and he would give my letters to Guru Maharaj to respond to. Guru Maharaj would then have Vāmana Maharaj write the responses. That is when Guru Maharaj started addressing me as Tiwariji. It was first by letter. When I came to the Mat, I did not know Vāmana Maharaj, but I had received many letters from him on Guru Maharaj's behalf, so I knew his handwriting. When I left everything and came to the Mat in December of 1946, I arrived at the station in Navadip and saw someone carrying a lantern looking for me. He came up to me and asked, "Are you Tiwariji?" I said, "Yes. Who are you?" "I am the one who has been writing to you letters on behalf of Guru Maharaj." "But how did you know I was coming?" I asked. "Guru Maharaj said you would be coming tonight," he said. I had not, however, written anything about coming. I had just left suddenly, arriving there in the middle of the night, around 11, via Katwa and Bardhaman. When I got there, I did not know where to go. That's when I saw him, and he took me to the Mat. Beautiful picture, huh? Guru Maharaj's deep affection for him. One time in Chunchura, when he was entering some corrections and after proofreading, his hand was badly injured in the press. There was no one else there to enter the corrections. He was by himself. He had started up the press and then began feeding the paper into it when somehow the press crushed his hand. His finger was badly injured. Guru Maharaj, with tears in his eyes, took him straight to Kolkata, to the medical college there. Guru Maharaj kept him there for 2 or 3 days for treatment and did not leave his side till he was better. Guru Maharaj was visibly shaken, disturbed. He was crying for him. Normally, Guru Maharaj was a very grave and composed person. He was never seen to be in such an emotional state. Another time also, when Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj fell ill, Guru Maharaj dropped everything he was doing to take him to Shimla for treatment. The Encyclopedia of Gaudiya Siddhanta. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj was very much a Shrutidhar, one who remembers everything he hears. He only had to hear something once to remember it, even big, long verses. The rest of us will recite a verse repeatedly, trying to memorize it, trying to grind it in and make it stick, and still we forget half the verse. I saw that he was like the encyclopedia of the Gaudiya Mat Siddhanta. He could produce references from everywhere. He could recite Bhagavad Gita all the way through without pause. He could do the same with Vedanta Sutra and all the main verses of Bhagavatam. Guru Maharaj once took 5 sannyasis and 10 to 12 brahmacharis preaching in Assam. When we came to the village of Baripada, which was largely populated by the disciples of Shankardev, who had written the so-called 13th canto of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, his followers worshipped Bhagavan Sri Krishna, but they also ate meat, fish, and other such foodstuffs. In a large gathering, Guru Maharaj declared that the mouths of those who perform bhajan and Sri Krishna while eating meat and fish and drinking alcohol are like sewers full of stool and urine. Upon hearing this, Shankardev's many followers began to attack the devotees on stage with sticks and stones. It was chaos, and people were scattering, but Guru Maharaj remained still and calm. "If you want to fight," he said gravely, "we too can take up sticks and stones. You should calm down and listen. Those with questions or doubts are welcome to present them." In the course of the following discussion, the followers of Shankardev declared Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an ordinary person, not an incarnation of Bhagavan, and requested evidence of his supreme position. Guru Maharaj then motioned to Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj, who promptly stood up and quoted around 35 verses, one after another, starting with Krishna Varnam Tisa Krishnam and Channa Avatar, to prove that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is indeed Bhagavan. The audience was astonished and silenced. In this way, the preaching program turned out to be quite a success. Special qualities. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj had one very special quality, which is that he never praised himself. We somehow or other find a way to praise ourselves, but I have never seen this in him. If I was present, he would not speak. He would just keep telling me, "You speak, you speak." And when I would say, "No, please, you speak," the audience just had to sit there for 10 minutes watching us go back and forth like this. If I said something wrong when I spoke, he would not correct me. Even after the class was over, he would not say anything. Once when we were at the Shyamasundar temple in Vrindavan, I said that although Baladev Vijayabhushan had established a temple, but it's Sri Shyamananda Prabhu's temple. Several days later, he finally mentioned that the temple had actually been established by Shyamananda Prabhu, not Baladev Vijayabhushan. He would never directly correct or contradict me, and whenever I was with him, he'd always ask me to speak. He had this manner of giving respect to me and to everyone. This is the nature of a Vaishnav, to always give honor to others. Although Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj was the Acharya, he was completely devoid of the pride of being an Acharya, and throughout his life, he always remained under the guidance of his godbrothers. During Navadvip Parikrama, before he would give initiations, he would come to Srila Trivikram Maharaj and me and say, "O Maharaj, please give me permission to give initiations." I once sent Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj a letter requesting him to come to Mathura because many people there wanted to take Harinam and Diksha initiation. He wrote back saying, "I told you long ago, and I am telling you again, that you yourself should, without hesitation, give Harinam and Diksha initiation. My health is not good. If you do this, it will save me from having to travel, and the preaching there will not be hindered." How rare it is to find a Vaishnava Acharya like him, who, with trust and magnanimity, instructs his godbrother to give Harinam and Diksha. These days, so many quarrels take place over this issue. Look, there's Krishnadas Prabhu. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj is also very discreet in how he gives money to people. No one knows what or how much he gives or to whom. After Guru Maharaj's disappearance, I was doing some renovation work in Sri Keshavaji Gaudiya Math. We were not receiving many donations as we were not really acquainted with anyone in Mathura at that time. I did not know how I was going to manage. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj found out and without telling anyone, very discreetly gave 5,000 rupees towards the project. That was how the renovation started, and slowly we were able to do all this. And at that time, 5,000 rupees must have been a huge amount. Pranami comes to him, but he does not advertise what he gives and to whom. You should give with one hand in such a way that your other hand does not know. And do not even ask about his affection for his disciples. He had so much affection for them. He spoke so affectionately with each of them that each disciple felt he loved him or her the most. He loved them so much. I do not know how to love so much. He really knew how to love. And though he had this affection for his disciples, he was still very detached. Advocating bhajan in the mood of Radha Dasyam. Sometimes, especially during Navadip Parikrama, Pujapad Trivikram Maharaj and I would have loving quarrels. They would even take place on the stage in public. He would cut my arguments and I would cut his. Once, in the course of one such quarrel, I presented Madhurya Ras according to the conception of Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī. My point was that on the strength of their service to Sri Radha, her maidservants do not even care to serve Sri Krishna. I quoted the shloka, Naparayeham nirvadya samyujam, Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10:32-22, wherein Sri Krishna is saying, O gopis, even if I lived as long as Lord Brahma or any other demigod, I would not be able to repay my debt to you. I also quoted Gita Govinda 10:19-8, where Sri Krishna says, Smara garala kandanam mama shirasi mandanam dehi padapallavam udaram. My beloved, offer the fresh buds of your enchanting feet as the ornament upon my head. From the perspective of Tattva, Sri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, but due to the excellence of Ashraya Jatiya Prema, the prema experienced by devotees, he becomes indebted to Srimati Radhika and begs for her forgiveness. Pujapad Trivikram Maharaj then refuted my statements and established the Bhagavata, the godliness. Godliness? I think the godhood. Sorry, let me just... Okay. The godhood and importance of Sri Krishna. Or maybe godliness is right, actually. In this way, there ensued sweet debates between us. Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj, the chairman of the assembly, witnessed our loving quarrels and spoke his conclusion. Radha Paksha Chari Je Jana Se Jan Je Bhave Se Bhave Thake Amito Radhika Pakshapati Sada Kabhu Nahi Heri Thake. I am forever in the group of Sri Radhaji. Whoever is not part of Radha's group can be and do as he like. This is a conception of the followers of Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī. It's from the song Vishapanu Sutta by Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Look, there's Śrīla Trivikram Gosvāmī Maharaj, Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Maharaj, and my Śrīla Gurudeva. And there's Śrīla Bhakti Jivan Janardana Gosvāmī Maharaj. Performing bhajan with the inclination to serve Srimati Radhika is the best type of bhajan. It cannot be said that no one is qualified to perform this kind of bhajan. In this world, there is always a Rupanuga Vaishnava who is capable of doing such bhajan. Past, present, and future, there will always be someone with this qualification. To say otherwise is incorrect. To say otherwise is incorrect because the world would face destruction if it lacked the presence of such a qualified person. His philosophical perspective made a substantial impression on the audience. Śrīla Śrīla Goswami Maharaj used to also say that. Absorption in Vipralamba Bhajan. After the disappearance of our Guru Maharaj, Pujapad Vāmana Maharaj was always absorbed in performing bhajan in a mood of deep separation, vipralamba. So much so that when his disciples came to him to discuss any issue, especially in relation to management, he would say, Go speak to Shripad Nārāyaṇa Maharaj and he will address your problem. For 2 or 3 years before his disappearance, he completely withdrew from the external world, absorbing himself internally in Nam Bhajan. Sometimes he was overwhelmed with ecstasy, and day or night he would call out, "O Thakurani, have mercy on me! Thakurani, have mercy! Have mercy!" He would even cry this out as he slept. Wow. Disappearance and Samadhi. In 2004, some days before his disappearance from this world, Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja was staying on the bank of the river Ganga at a place called Vaidyabhati, a short distance from Kolkata. Even though his health was poor, he journeyed to Sri Devananda Gaudiya Math and Sri Navadvip Dham to observe Kārtika Vrat. And in that month of Kārtika, on the day of Gaura Tritiya, he entered into Shri Radha Krishna's eternal pastimes. On this day, I was at Sri Govardhan performing our annual Sri Vrajamandal Parikrama with 1,000 or so participants. When I heard the news, I went to Navadvip Dham. I had been informed of a scheduled time for his Samadhi ceremony, but it was performed ahead of schedule before I arrived. This was quite disconcerting for some of my godbrothers and for me. Nonetheless, I went there and, accompanied by Kirtan, performed worship and parikrama of his Samadhi. I lived with Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja for almost 60 years and had the opportunity to closely observe and understand him. He possessed all the qualities that are inherent in a Vaishnava. By nature, he was simple, grave, humble, tolerant, overflowing with Guru Nishta and inclined to serve the Vaishnavas. This situated him on a high level of bhakti. His Guru Nishta was astounding. With his life in his hands, he would step forward and offer himself in the service of Guru Maharaj. Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. I have seen many Guru Sevaks, but Pujapad Vāmana Mahārāja's service to Guru Maharaj with his body, mind, and words and sentiments was extraordinary. In this world, such a Guru is rare. We pray to him that while engaged in the eternal service of Sri Gurudeva and Shri Radha Krishna, he be merciful upon us all, so that we can also perform Guru Seva with Nishta like him, and thus dedicate our lives to Sri Guru and his mission. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda ashtatara-shata Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai. Wow. This book is just, it's life-changing. All right, so I don't know, let me go back here. Yeah, I don't know, I kind of want to read the whole book, like everything, all the letters, because they're so special, and just, I don't know how long it would take me. It might take me 2 weeks. I'd have to figure it out, how long it would take. But this book, really, these letters are extraordinary. Yeah, and it's just been such a huge help for me in my struggling spiritual life. And so I'm feeling a strong desire to read them all here every morning. But I was going to start the 8th canto, but I'm wondering if it's okay if I just start a couple weeks later. I don't know. We can. You can all let me know what you think, and I'll do accordingly. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I guess we should end with a little Mahamantra, and then tomorrow I'll read a little bit more from this book, and you can all let me know if we should continue reading from this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī, Jaya Gurudeva. Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī, Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Vāmana Gosvāmī, Jaya Gurudeva. Vāmana Gosvāmī, Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. I'm getting a call from Uma Didi, so I'm going right now. Hari Bol.